Okay, okay. So now we're going to get back into our Navisworks. So for those who just joined, so now we have more than 10 participants. So thank you guys for joining this session. And just want to refresh back what we're going to do today is first is to create the task based on selection sets, define your start and end dates, and we're going to edit and play the simulations. Then we can link the animation with view, link the simulations with viewpoint animations. Then we can do export the simulations as a video format. All right, so let's us go into Navisworks Manage. This I'm going to do Navisworks Manage 2019. So there is no specific reason why I'm using 19. So just use this version because it's stable. Okay, and then so I want to open my file. For instance, this is the model that has been set for this purpose. Okay, so if you are new with Autodesk Navisworks, you should know that there is a command in the home menu. Here there is a class detective command, timeliner, quantification, Autodesk rendering, animator, and scripter. So what we're going to focus today is this timeliner. So you can just click this timeliner and you will see the timeliner module, timeliner toolbar appear on the bottom. Okay, and before we jump into this timeliner, so let's check whether the model has been selected as a correct set. So how do I know? This is the sets that I already created for this project. So what is sets actually? Set is actually the your user-defined selections based on your project simulation. So what you're going to do with whatever that you selected. So by default, it's not like this because once you model up from Revit, AutoCAD, it all will go as per category. It will go, for instance, if we go with selection 3, so this is the items that will be grouped, for example. So this model is from Plant 3D. So this is based on the selection 3 set by the software. So we're not going to use this because for some reason this is not going to follow our work program because we have to start from bottom, then we have to start from the foundation, then column, beam, and so on. So the workflow is different. The work program is different from the current selection 3 set by the software. So that is why we're going to use these sets because this is already created to follow the construction process. So which one start first, which one second, which one third, and so on. So that is why the reason why I'm using set because it's a fully customized selection. And how I'm going to select, I'm going to show you a little bit on how I'm going to select this object. For instance, I want to create my own selections with column. So it's either I'm going to click one by one, or I'm going to click shift to select all the structural component like this. And then what we can do is that we can go to set toolbar, and then you can see there is a save selection button, and you can name it as the preferred names that you want. Okay, so this is the process so that I'm getting all of this ready in order by following the construction order. Okay, so from the selection sets that I made, so how I'm going to merge that sets into these tasks so that it's automatically combined together as a work program. So I'm going to just right click at the timeliner, and I'm going to define the how to add task, and there is an option for you to choose for every set. So click for every set, then automatically it will define the new task created, okay, as the selection set that you made. And it came along with the 3D object that is attached here. Okay, So there is a 3D object, means that it has, for every step that we made into timeliner, then there is a 3D model attached with the task. Okay, then what's next is to define. Okay, then if we look at the slides here, we have done this, and then next is to define the start and end dates of the task. So this may not be the correct dates that we're going to use, but for instance, for this kind of for showing purpose, for this webinar purpose, so I'm going to pick some random dates starting from today. For instance, okay, I'm gonna, let's say, kind of week later, and you will see on the right side. So I have made these changes automatically on the at the Gantt chart, and it shows exactly as per dates that I chose in the plan start and plan end. So this date can also be copied to another column. So let's say you want to copy this date to this column, then you can just copy this, so that when you can simply just go further into another weeks. And I'm going to repeat the process. Okay. Okay, so this process might take time. Okay, but if I already have the never mind, I will just proceed with this. So 24th September. So I'll just make a week gap. For instance, this may not be correct, but this is good for you to see the difference between the dates that you put. Okay, it may take a bit of time. So if you have a larger project that require more time to set this date, and it must align with the work program set by the project manager. So the process is also the same if you are using Microsoft Project. Okay, if you are using a Primavera, or if you are using even using Excel. Okay, let me put another date. There's go. Right, so we're almost there. Right, so let's say we're going to have the Gantt chart ready here. Okay, you can see the Gantt chart is having, even though it's not a real construction process, but I'm going to show you how it's going to be done in Navisworks by just changing the dates here. So you have the plan start and plan end. You also can put the actual start and actual end. So you can see the difference also in animated view. Okay, so from the dates that we mentioned here that we already set in the plan end and plan start and end. So you can see if you go to the simulate button here, then you can play the simulations. Okay, from this point you will see the Gantt chart is moving. Okay, and also the task is changing by following the days and weeks. Okay. And this is actually basically how we're going to run the construction simulation, static construction simulations from this kind of view, right? So from this view, if you have satisfied with these simulations, then what you can do further is by going into the settings. So we're going to edit and play the simulation. So what we can do for editing is if you look at the setting view, there are a few things that we can do. First, you can override the start and end dates. For instance, if you want to make the animation a bit smooth, you may want to start a bit earlier, a week earlier or day earlier. You can end the animations a day after or a week after. So that totally depends on how you want to clarify or when to show during the animations. And we can also define the interval size. Okay, if you want to show by percentage, then it will have the value here. You can go by 1% percentage, 1%, and also you can change this interval size by weeks, days, hours, minutes, and seconds. So that is optional, okay, for you to choose any settings, any interval size that you wish. For instance, I want to stick with days, okay, and then you can define the playback duration. Okay, the playback duration, for instance, you are going to go with like 60 seconds. Okay, then you can see the animation will go a bit longer until we meet that 60 seconds. So if let's say you have 100 days, so that 100 days in total will be displayed in 60 seconds. So if you want to make it longer, then just add the playback durations if you wish. Okay, and this overlay text is things that is appearing on the top right, so on the top left, sorry. So what we can do here is we can add some sort of informations along with the video. So if you, by default, it has the days, weeks, and dates. Okay, and then we can add more costing information. If you have the detail of the costing, you can add more cost. Then you can play with colors, and there is some extra information that we can put. Okay, so this is going to be shown later on. Okay, and then there is also a features to link with animation. So if you look at my animation webinars or animation online lessons for Navisworks animation, so I already showed how to do the viewpoint animation. So you may look at that. And then we can actually link that this animations simulation into the desired animation. So you can also set whether you want to show the plan or plan actual difference, or plan against actual plan differences. So this could be the options that is available. So I believe this is good enough for you to simulate the project. And once you have done with this, so let's see. If you click OK, what will happen? So let's play the play again and see the moving, the motions, okay, and the simulation going a bit slower, and it comes along with the viewpoint animations that we set earlier. Okay, so you have to make sure the viewpoint animation have been set properly, following any angles that you wish, from left, right, top, or bottom, or from isometric to any kind of view that you wish, zoom in, zoom out, whatever view that you wish, then it has to be converted as a viewpoint animation before we link that into our simulation. Okay, so we already have linked viewpoint animation for that. And when we have satisfied with the viewpoint animation, so let's see how we're going to export the simulation video for your presentation wise. Right. So let's see, this is how we're going to play the same video. Okay. So these simulations, if you wish to export this into some sort of video format and so on for presentation or to giving up to your client during the coordination meeting, then there is the button on the right side here. Okay, so we call it as the animation export button. Then what we can choose here is the source of animation that we want to pick. So we have the current animated scenes, current animations, or the timeline simulation. We're going to choose this timeline simulation. And we also can choose the viewport or Autodesk renderer. So it's not going to make much changes because we don't do any sunlight setting for this and all that. So we can choose the output options if you wish to have the JPEG, all JPEG frames in JPEG formats and also PNG, or we can also convert straight away to AVI format. Okay, and then we can define our frame size, width, and height. So this is the explicit type where I'm using the 720 resolution. Okay, And you can also specify the frame per second. So if you want to have 10 frames per second or 5 frames per second, then depends on the animation. So if you put more frame per second, it will be a lot smooth. Then it will go better than lower FPS. Okay, so it's like you are going to render some video and then you're going to define the frame per second. Okay, and then if you click OK for that, then you can choose. Okay, the process is may not be depends on your spec, your PC spec. So let's say this is a very small project, then it may not take longer time to process. Okay, so while waiting the animations done, so let us back into our websites, and I'm going to show you if you have any other issues related to Autodesk or any other solution, feel free to go to our websites and go to help desk. So you can find the Acad system new help desk here. Okay, and you can continue as guest, and feel free to fill in your name, for instance, and let's say you have issues with Navisworks not running properly. Okay, provide your email. Okay, and provide your company name, and okay, and don't forget to enter the detailed descriptions. Why it's not running, for instance, because of the license error, or you have some sort of crash issues and that. So you can choose the category, KL or Penang, technical or sales. So that depends, and then you can simply submit the ticket. So that is on how we're going to. You can ask our assistants, technical assistant or sales assistant for in detail. Okay. Right. So let's see if the animation have finished. Okay. So it seems like it's not yet finished. It's processing. Okay. Just wait a while, few more seconds, and we will see how it goes. Okay, it's still processing. So if it takes longer time, then I'm going to show you guys what is the data that I have made previously using the same data sets. So I'm going to use media player. Okay. Right. So this is some sort of the same animations that we are processing now. Okay. From this view, you can see whatever that you see on Navisworks. This is exactly the same thing that you will be seeing in the video. Of course, you will be asked why it doesn't come with rendering effects like sunlight and so on. So for your information, if you wish to get better animations with the sunlight, shadows, and all that, or any effective lightings to show in a realistic view, in better view, so that can actually be done in by merging your model, Navisworks models, bring it into 3ds Max. So 3ds Max and Navisworks can 3ds Max can actually read the data from Navisworks Timeliner exactly. So you don't have to recreate the timeliner in Navisworks keyframe. So 3ds Max can work well with Navisworks, but it will not be shown today. But we will try to showcase that thing for other next upcoming webinar. And my upcoming topics for Navisworks is actually to focus on how we're going to model or how we're going to do a timeline simulations using the Skydrop animations later on. So you have to stay tuned to our free online lesson series, and you should have learned a lot from our webinar sessions like this. Okay, so hope this would help you for those modelers, designers, or project managers, BIM managers, BIM coordinators to simulate your project, okay, in Navisworks. So for those who are already use Navisworks, then this would be some kind of things that you may have forgot to use. For those who just really new with Navisworks, you should know that if you get into BIM, you have to run the BIM simulations or building simulations, and Navisworks can get it done in a quick way, even though you have a very low PC specs. Not as compared to the spec that is workable for Revit. Okay, so Navisworks is the place for you to get into a new experience of managing models and project. Right. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask in our chat box. Okay. So while waiting your questions, so I'm gonna run a few more polls. Okay. Right. Thank you very much for all your answers. Okay. So hope you guys are all satisfied with this knowledge. So it may not be new for you, but it may be new, really new for someone else. Okay. And hopefully you can follow us or see the recording in our Facebook page. Okay, we have our Facebook page Acad Systems Sdn Bhd. So you can see all the recordings for other free online lessons as well. Okay, so if you guys don't have any other questions, so I would like to say many thanks for you to spend your time watching these free online lessons. And thank you guys for, again, hope to see you guys again in upcoming webinars. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, sorry.